I'm Felix, I'm 12 years old and I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
I'm Lily Hayward, I'm 12 and I was diagnosed with ALL and osteonecrosis.
Well, I had an abscess and we went for a blood test for that, but they said they didn't need to worry about that, there was like a bigger problem, and that's how I knew that I had the leukemia.
Initially you're just devastated, you blame yourself. What did we do wrong? What did we do to cause it? Then you accept it and you want to do everything you can to make her well, and then you try and put them in bubble wrap. You know, you weren't letting people in the house. You know, you just keep them cocooned, they're just yours and you don't want anything to make them poorly.
You don't expect to hear the words cancer when you're talking about your child. Just a few words can change your world in seconds. The thought of your child being seriously ill is one of life's true horrors, and parents would give anything to make them well again.
It was a complete shock, really, when we first found out. I think it is probably for most parents. And from that point on, the first 6 weeks probably are almost a real mystery. It just felt like we were thrown into a completely new world, which none of us ever wanted to be in, but we were, and we just had to make the best of it.
And then you start to relax a little bit, and as soon as you relax, something happens and she's back in hospital and it's all back up again. That, you know,
Hospitals are like a second home for us now, aren't they?
so it's difficult, it's hard to relax. And again, we don't plan things. You can't plan things, because if we plan things then we're disappointed, or Lily's disappointed.
Everything last year that we planned, I was in hospital.
So nationally, 1 in 500 children will be diagnosed with cancer each year. So half of our patients have leukemia, a quarter of them have brain tumours, and the rest are solid organ tumours. If you have leukemia as a child, then actually you have a really good long-term prognosis. Some of the more difficult tumours, such as brain tumours, don't have such good survival rates.
So many difficult moments ahead.
Because you want to protect your family and you want to do the best you can for your family always. And then when you're thrown into something like this, you have to hand over almost ultimate responsibility for your son's life, your family, everything to complete strangers, and you just have to trust in them.
It's whenever I think about the C word, I thought of death, because everyone in my family that's had it has passed on. September 15th next year, that's my finish date. Fingers crossed it will stay like that.
We kind of just marked 1,000 days of treatment, and yeah, that treatment at the moment is doing exactly what it should be doing. So at the beginning it was a huge slog, but now actually the end is almost near for us. He'll stop treatment, and hopefully there won't be the weekly blood tests, there won't be the clinics every 2 weeks, there won't be the chemo stops, there won't be the chemo holds, there won't be the neutropenia.
I think a diagnosis of cancer in a family is like putting a time bomb in the middle of them, and then nothing is the same for a very long time.
Things that you think were important before don't really matter anymore, and it does change you.
Yeah, I think I've grown up a lot from the treatment. It's sort of like maybe more mature than like other people that I know and other friends.
We just try to remain positive. You have to be positive, and if there's a problem, as in she had the problem with the steroids causing osteonecrosis, it was horrendous because we couldn't do anything. Whereas we've got used to it now. We've got some things in place. She's got a wheelchair.
I'm going to have a stair lift in December, you know, as every 12-year-old does, you know.
Families often don't sleep under the same roof for months.
Children can be in hospital for a few days, having a short course of chemotherapy, or a very long time because they are not fit to go home, or because their treatment is that long. And the longest, off the top of my head, the longest time that I have had a patient in for is 9 months without going home.
The initial year, there was a lot of that, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Awful lot of toing and froing and tag teaming to go into hospital, come back out, and your mum and dad came down and stayed for weeks at a time, just because you'd have that handover period where you needed just some other people around to pick one of the others up from school, or drop one off to school, or you know, whatever it was. So
It's not just a physical battle, it's a huge mental battle too. The fear of relapse never leaves you.
Because obviously it's a lot to handle mentally. It was hard, it still is, but it's just sort of normal now. I've forgotten what it feels like to not have it.
One parent has said to me that when she first came to us, it was a terrifying unknown. And I sometimes think that as well as delivering treatment and trying to cure children, part of our job as the health profession is to hold parents' hands while they hold their children's hands.
The impact of the ripple effect on the wider community as well, the grandparents, aunties and uncles, friends, the school community, the football community, those ripples have such a huge impact.
There is a moment every family longs for, the moment their child finishes treatment and can ring the end of treatment bell.
Whilst it has been an enduring slog, we know other families that just aren't as fortunate at all in terms of the treatment and the effectiveness of the treatment.
Families not only have the worry of their child being seriously ill and facing an uncertain future, but they have to deal with the financial hardship as a result of their child's diagnosis. Research has shown that on average parents will spend an extra £600 per month while their child is receiving treatment.
Families have to add £600 onto their bill for the month. And if you have people not working, that's a huge pressure and a worry for people.
With the support of the Joe Glover Trust, this terrible time has been made more bearable with the financial grants they offer. Our daughter Bethany was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma in November 2016. Beth, at 15 years of age, was just starting to blossom. Everything changed so quickly. The longer we spent in hospital, the more we became aware of exactly what the Joe Glover Trust meant to families going through the same ordeal we now found ourselves going through. Bethany passed away in April this year and our world collapsed. Life will never be the same for any of us without Beth. Things have been so difficult for the family, but the care and help provided by the Joe Glover Trust, even to this very day, has been something we will always be grateful for. The Joe Glover Trust has helped hundreds of families across the Wessex region by providing financial grants for a variety of reasons, such as help with travel cost, extra tuition as many families miss long periods of school, or sadly, for funeral expenses. But the vast majority are everyday living expenses like mortgages, rent, heating or other household bills.
Yeah, the financial impact has been huge, and in some ways it's things that you don't anticipate for, which suddenly can become costly. But it's all these sort of knock-on costs that suddenly become really expensive, and even things like parking, let alone the big impact, which is if you don't have understanding employers, you could find yourself in serious, financial need from that regard with, as you say, mortgage payments, petrol. It's not cheap.
So it's when I was diagnosed, the Joe Glover Trust gave us money to help pay the bills for the first month, and that really helped.
In addition to providing financial grants to families, we have set up a Days Out programme. These days give families a chance to be together, escape for a few hours from everything else going on, and create some very special memories.
You just get to meet other families, but you're not in your pyjamas. You've had a shower, you've got a little bit of makeup on, and you're actually feeling like all the other families do. So
I really enjoyed the sailing trip we went on. I think it was like the first time I've ever been on a boat except for a ferry, but it was really fun and that really helped. And then all the days out, it's just made it easier because you don't think about it.
We receive no government funding, and without our individual and corporate supporters, we couldn't survive. Over the years, your donations have helped support children like Felix, Lily and Beth and their families. Please help us to continue to fund this vital work and give whatever you can. It will make a real difference. Until there's a cure for childhood cancer, there will always be families needing our help.
This is a really difficult journey for families. They're not expecting it, they don't want it, and anything that can help them through that process is what they need. And the Joe Glover Trust has been part of that for me here on Pine Brown for 11 years. So anything you can do is always gratefully received.
Please support the Joe Glover Trust, because it's the small things at times that really can matter, and charities like that, they need all the funding they can to really help people like us. Give a little or give a lot, but please do remember the charity. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to the Joe Glover Trust. Please donate to them, because they are why I'm so happy today. They do amazing things and they are one of the best charities ever. Thank you.
I'll give you some money for that.